Stocks are trying to make some kind of move here in the last half an hour. Bitcoin too. Mr. Kevin Green joins us for a look here at the session. Crypto's trying to warm up a little bit more than stocks, KG, but the NASDAQ hit a low and then tried to bounce back. So we're going to get flattened into the close here, or what do you see?
Obviously, we do have some pen risk here at 6,000. So if we kind of go to the intraday chart, we can kind of lay out exactly what's happening here.
Okay.
If you're looking at the upside right now, the positive gamma area, just looking at volume for today, the estimation right now is sitting at around that 6,000 level, which would also then put us at a little bit of pen risk here. If we have a breakdown, 5980 is going to be your area that you would want to be able to hold here. Any breakdown below that, you can start looking at the 5960, 5950 area. You do not want to go, obviously, in that direction, Oliver, going into the close. But we do have a little bit of squeeze potential here to 6020, or maybe even higher than that. And the reason why I kind of bring that up, yes, we have a lot of put positioning here today. But if we do have a covering event that goes into the close, that could also then create these dealers to buy back or buy into their futures contracts that they're short right now, and that's where you can have a little bit of a melt up to the upside here. Also kind of looking at the market just as a whole here, we do have a interesting kind of cup and handle pattern that's taking place. For the most part, it's a challenging pattern, but for the most part could be bullish, where we have this kind of cup, we come back down, we consolidate a little bit, and then we break out to the upside here. Now, that is something that is setting up on that 5-minute chart. So once again, today wasn't that great, but you would also have to kind of think to yourself, a lot of aggressive selling when it comes to Nvidia. Around 88% of the volume was on down ticks today for Nvidia. So that market on close order probably should skew to the buy side a little bit more than to the sell side, you would think, just because of the aggressive selling, the aggressive put buying activity that's kind of taking place. So I'm kind of looking more for a short covering rally going into the close, hopefully, and not a further breakdown to the downside.
Okay. All right. Noted. Nvidia 118, so brutal, how very little buying action there's been. So yeah, to your point, maybe one last chance before the close, but boy, they've been absent. The cup and handle, KG, the handle there is, tell me how that pattern works again one more time.
Yeah, definitely. So you have a push to the upside like we had earlier this morning. We come down, we basically consolidate or create a base. We go back up to try to retest those highs that we have here on the intraday vessel. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. None of them are perfect. And then you have like a flag pattern on that right-hand side. That's your handle. And now we're trying to break back out to the upside. So you're going to test that 60-10 potentially going into the close. And if you do kind of get a break above that in 60-17, you kind of hit that 60-20. So I don't see anything above that 60-20 to give me confidence. But once again, I'm just kind of going on the fact that we had aggressive selling in one of the biggest stocks obviously in the market here, and how much more selling can we have today? We could have more, but usually we kind of see these, aggressive buy orders going into the close. That's similar to what we had, I believe it was like Tuesday of last week, if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday or Wednesday, where we had that rally. Remember that 18 or 20 point rally into the close? That's the type of situation I'm kind of looking at for today's close right now.
I do like to watch Bitcoin for faster twitch risk on indications than stocks, and BTC does say that there might be a little bit of a ramp. Is in terms of downside levels, we zoom out a little bit, Kevin, where does the pain start? Where does the forced selling and or buying start if you look at the big market makers, positions, et cetera?
5,900 would be kind of your line in the sand. That would be the last gap that we have on that daily chart. That's where it would get very, very interesting, because we get back into that channel line, and that's where we could actually have further breakdown. And unfortunately, you have a couple of mega cap name stocks that are breaking down in a bearish formation. Obviously, Nvidia today kind of even losing that 200-day moving average, which is not good. Microsoft kind of testing that 200-day average, which is not good. So the broadening out of this rally that we've had, or this kind of bounce that we've had, is really kind of saving the market. If we did not have the broadening out or other sectors participating, it would be very ugly today. And probably would not have seen new all-time highs last week. So As long as we continue to have a rotation, I think it still gives you a little bit of an edge to the bulls right now, barring any type of news coming out. But 5,900 is kind of that next area that I'm looking at, where if we do have a breakdown to the downside, unfortunately, then you start talking about potentially making new lows and completely reversing this counter trend that we have. You can kind of go back and say, though, Oliver, from a technical standpoint, we have 3 waves on the way down. Maybe we're just making that first wave on the way up, which made that new all-time high. Now we're having that counter trend. And that counter trend, you want to basically bounce off right around here. 59.50 kind of gives you that counter trend safety net, if you will, where we could continue to move higher. And that's where we would make new all-time highs and then kind of come back and then push higher if you believe in waves for the market, which I am a believer of. So I'm not too concerned about the market yet. I think we will still have some elevated vol, and what's actually interesting about the vol complex, there's not even that much of a backwardation taking place. Knowing that we had a 5% sell-off overnight and Nvidia dropping over 17%. That kind of tells me either the market is a little bit more complacent than what we expect, or they do not believe that this is going to last for too long. Given the events that we have on the calendar here, it seems like they're saying that it's not going to last for too long here. So that's something that once we do see that backwardation getting worse and worse or larger and larger, that would probably give you another signal that we have a move to the downside. And tomorrow we'll see on the E-mini S&P futures, the open interest change. If this was a short covering or a short event, we could see that in the open interest change. And we'll also kind of see more ETF fund flows and see exactly what kind of happened today. And if a lot of money actually moved out of the market into cash, into treasuries, or once again, if we just saw a massive rotation take place here.
Okay. Pretty good rally in bonds. Seems like we have to figure out if we believe in waves. I like that. I believe in gravity in the market, so I guess that means I have to believe in waves. Appreciate it, KG.